All right, for your diluted shares, you're going to have one, two, three, four, about five different things, okay? Now, what is a diluted share? A diluted share is anything that's going to lower your earnings per share. If it does not lower your earnings per share, then it is called anti-dilutive. And we do not report anti-dilutive earnings per share numbers. Why is that? Because I hate to say we want to give the stockholders the worst possible case scenario, but that's basically what it is, okay? How much per share would you earn if everyone converted their stock? Think about what's going on. Convertible stocks, if I issue stock options or stock warrants, let's say I only have 100, I'm taking some numerator and dividing by 100 shares. If there's a potential for me to convert 10 of my shares, will your earnings per share number be higher or lower if the net income never changes? It'll be lower, right? So you need to know that ahead of time that your earnings per share of your stock is not worth as much. But if for some reason there's going to be less shares in the numerator, in the denominator, then at that point in time it will be higher. You do not report a higher earnings per share, which is the same as saying you do not report an anti-dilutive earnings per share number. So everything we're going to deal with is with diluted earnings per share. All right. Now, let's look at the example here, or the illustration 19-10. What you have on page 1146 is basically the two paragraphs before the end when it starts with when we simulate the exercise of stock options, and also the one that says obviously there are literally hundreds of choices. Those two paragraphs pretty much give you the rationale for what you call the treasury stock method. So what is that saying? The treasury stock method says if I were to convert my shares, it's your company, okay, and I convert all of my shares, that means that you will now have what? Cash. So what would you do with that cash? Well, what you would do is to take that cash and buy up some treasury stock, or as they say, buy shares for the treasury. Okay? That's what you are assumed to do with that cash. There are many different things that you can do, but the board decided on once you get that money, it is assumed that you would buy shares for the treasury. Does that make sense?
What do you mean? How are there treasury stock if you just liquidated all your stock?
Okay, once again, you are the company, okay? Mm-hmm. And you sold shares to me over time. Mm-hmm. You sold me some options over time. Now the price is right and I convert my shares. I can't just say I want some shares. As you'll see in a second, I'm going to have to pay a little bit of money to exercise that right, okay? To get those shares. I'm not going to, if it's worth $50, I may pay $15 or I may pay $30, but I'm going to have to give you some money.
Are you paying out your customer?
I'm paying you. It's your company. Remember, this chapter is from your perspective, your company.
Okay.
And I'm paying you to convert my share, to convert my option. So now you have cash.
Oh, you got to pay a fee to be able to do that.
Yeah, I do. Okay. What are you going to do with that money? Well, there are many different things you can do, but the board says that you are going to take that money and go out and buy some treasury stock.
The fee money.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Everybody got that part first. Now, as you'll see in a second, you're not going to, out of all the money you have, you can't buy all of the shares. So anything you cannot buy is going to be what is left over, and that's what's going to be added to the denominator to make it dilutive. Okay? So the first thing, remember, when I convert my shares, when I exercise my options, I'm going to pay you. What are you going to do with that money? You're going to go and do what?
Subtract from your net income?
You're going to buy some shares with that cash. Okay? All that you can't buy is the number that will be added to your denominator. And that's the treasury stock method. And let's look at that in person here, and we'll see even more why that's correct, all right? As you see, this example keeps on going. So illustration 19-10 here. Look at the bottom here, or in the red here. Incentive stock options. Executive stock options granted in 2011, exercisable after 2015 for 15 million shares at an exercise price of $20 per share. This is saying that I can buy shares from you at $20. Think about it. It's your company. I work for you. You pay me a salary, and the bonus is based on how well I help the company grow. That's pretty much what a stock option is. It's another form of payment, but it's generally tied to some way that I help your company grow. Makes sense so far? At $20 per share, I can buy some shares. Now, think about it. Do I want to buy some shares do I want to pay $20 per share for a $12 share? No, I want to wait till it's at least $21 or maximized to whatever that is. So I want it to be something higher, okay? In this case, the average market price is $25 per share. How do we know that? That's given to us, and I'll show you where that's given. But it's $25 per share, and right now I want to buy some shares. How much am I going to pay you? $20 per share. So what do I do with that? What do you do with that? You take that $20 per share, and I'm going to exercise or buy 15 million. So how much cash are you going to end up with?
30 million.
$300 million worth of cash. Does that make sense? All right. Now, what are you going to do with that cash? Buy up shares. Buy some treasury stock. How many shares can you buy? It depends on what the market price is. So one share of stock is $25 per share. 2 shares of stock is $50 per share, and it goes on and on and on. So if I take my 300 million and divide it by $25 per share, how many shares of stock can I buy? 12 million. All right. That's what I see. That's what you see in this. That's what this little computation is down here in the red at the bottom, on the bottom left-hand side of illustration 19-10. You see that there? Your 15 million shares that I have an option to buy. I paid $20 million. You ended up with how much? 300 million. You want to go and buy all of the shares that you can buy. You can only buy how many? 12 million, because the price is $25 per share. Now, how many shares could I not buy? Well, that's the difference between the 15 million and the 12 million. And what do I do with that? I add it to the denominator, because that's what's still outstanding. That's what's going to make my shares lower. What is that saying? You couldn't buy all these shares out, right? So since you couldn't buy them out, they're still left out there. Since they're still left out there, that's going to make the earnings per share number be lower. And for that reason, you're going to add it, because if it makes it lower, that's the same as the dilutive earnings per share.
Would the company have to, when they buy back the stock, they don't pay market price, do they?
Yeah, you have to actually pay. They can pay market. They may pay a little bit more. I think that's what you're saying. Why would those shareholders want to buy something back and the stock is steadily going up? Yeah, they may pay market, but chances are they may pay a little bit more. But think about it now. If you bought it for $2 a share and it's up to 25, and they pay you market right now, that's still a deal. But chances are that's what you call it, an induced sweetener, and basically it's just an expense. That extra portion would be. So yeah, they could, but chances are they'll pay a little bit more. Okay, but the shares, if the shares only worth $25, that's all they can buy. The price that you have to put in. So if you see something, in this case, if you see something $27 per share, which included a $2 sweetener, which you won't see on your exam, I'm just kind of telling you how that works. You back that out, and then you only record what the market price is that you bought back. Okay, in this case.
So what, I'm not understanding how they're explaining that 15.
Okay.
Are you saying just to take it from up here? Or, because the way they explain it is I'm not understanding.
That's okay. Watch me. It's your company, right? Mm-hmm. All right. Look, watch me. It's your company, and I work for you. You gave me an option to buy 15 million shares. I can buy them anytime I want to, right? Mm-hmm. How much do I have to pay you?
Market price.
I have to pay you $20 per share. Yeah. You get $20 per share. My goal is to put in my pocket the maximum between 20 and however far it goes. Right now, it's at $25. So I pay you $20 per share. That's going to give you $300 million. What are you going to do with that $300 million?
You're going to sell it back.
The
company.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy treasury stock worth $300 million.
Right, but you can only buy it. It costs $25 per share. So right now that tells you that you're going to lose. Well, you can't buy as much back. Yes. So how do you determine how many shares? You take it 300 million in dollars divided by the price per share in dollars, and that will give you the 12 million shares.
And that'd be 25 the market price, right?
At $25, right?
I was just reading this star down here.
That's okay. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of going
13
through.
13 and 11 over 7.
Mm-hmm.
I mean 7 over 11. I didn't get all that.
7 over 11, where is that?
Yeah, where it explains the 15 minus the 12.
Oh, okay.
It's right above the red that you were explaining.
Yeah.
It's right above it.
Okay, yeah. This is a little bit, it's going to help you out a little bit more now. But the key thing you have to remember is after all of that now, how many shares could you not buy back?
whatever the difference is from 300 million and
The
the market price times.
Let's change it up a little bit. The difference between the 15 million shares and the 12 million that you could that
Yeah,
you
that's
bought.
what I meant.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
that's the part that you add to the denominator. Okay, yes, sir.
What, the benefit for the company to do this is to reissue the shares at a later date when the market.
Yeah, because next year, I might want to exercise some more options, and next year somebody in my China operations might want to. You see what I'm saying? We talking about big companies, so you need to have some that's readily available. Now you could issue new shares, but you may not want to do that for a number of reasons. So you buying them back for that treasury stock. If I have a company in Japan, United States, India, Bahamas, whatever it is, different times, different people are going to want to exercise those. So you want to have some available for sale. Or excuse me, available for exercise, I should probably say, so you won't confuse that with available for sale securities. Okay. Good questions. Does that make sense? Does that kind of help you to understand what's going on here? So basically, how many shares do you add? You add the difference between the 15 million shares and the 12 million that you purchased, because you couldn't buy them all. Why couldn't you buy them all? Because the price was the market price was higher. Let's say the market price was the same. What would you add to the denominator if the market price was the same? Nothing. Perfect. If you said nothing, then that means you truly understand what's going on there. Okay.
And this is and then it wouldn't be diluted.
It wouldn't be diluted. That's why you wouldn't add anything. That's exactly why you wouldn't add anything back. Okay. And think again that these chapter 18, chapter 19, and even the last exam, this is your company. So whenever you have a question, if you're at home studying, think, okay, well, this is my company that's going on. Okay. Any questions?
So is that actually affecting the shareholders? Because diluted is what affects the earnings.
Yes, it's
it's affecting the company.
right.
I keep thinking of the wrong perspective.
That's okay from the company
But
perspective.
the stock price is probably gonna go down if they do that, because when the earnings per share is lower.
If that's the only factor that's possible, but then they could say that we're going to release the iPhone 11. I'm saying if it's something like that, and then it could those. But left by itself, that probably would happen. Okay. Or it could be looked at as, well, if the executives are cashing in, then it might be a good time. So just different factors. But I see that's one of many possibilities that you could have. Okay. And that's when you exercise options, rights, or warrants. And remember, warrants from the last chapter, those are the things that we talked about exercising at that point in time.